Today, we're going to dive into some truly fascinating evidence showing that the words you use every single day don't just, describe the world around you, they literally create your physical reality. Now, I know that sounds like a pretty bold claim, right? But we're going to look at actual documented cases, historical methods, and the real mechanics of how your brain processes language to prove it. So get ready, because by the end of this, you might completely rethink the way you speak to yourself and to others. All right, Section 1, the lemon test. Let's try a physical experiment. Let's just skip the abstract theory for a second and try an immediate, interactive experiment right here, right now. I want you to picture this. You are standing in your kitchen, and you're holding a lemon that you just grabbed straight out of the fridge. Really try to visualize it. It feels cold in your hand. Look at the outside of it, that waxy yellow skin that tapers down to those small green points at the ends. Go ahead and give it a little squeeze in your mind. Feel its firmness, the weight of it sitting right there in your palm. Okay, now bring that imaginary lemon right up to your nose and take a whiff. Nothing else really smells quite like a lemon, does it? Next, I want you to picture cutting it right in half. Smell it again. That sharp citrus odor is even stronger now, right? Now for the fun part. Imagine biting deeply into the lemon. Let that sharp, sour juice swirl all around in your mouth. Really taste it. All right, pause. This brilliantly illustrates our very first core concept. Just take a second and notice what's happening in your mouth right now. Is it watering? Because if you really used your imagination and played along just now, your salivary glands are actively working. Think about that. Your mouth is literally watering over a lemon that absolutely does not exist. So, let's move on to Section 2, your literal brain, and look at how words create these responses. The crucial point here is that mere words just forced a very real, very physical reaction from your body. You heard words, and your body physically responded. And honestly, this demands a pretty massive shift in how we look at things. Most of us just walk around thinking that the words we use passively reflect our meanings, like they're just handy little tools to describe reality. But as we just proved with that imaginary lemon, words actively create physical realities inside your body, just like that sudden flow of saliva. You've got to understand that your brain, it is not a subtle interpreter. It's not in on the joke, and it really doesn't understand exaggeration. It simply receives information, stores it, and is in literal direct charge of your physical body. When you imagined and heard those descriptive words about the lemon, you were basically telling your brain, hey, I have a lemon in my mouth. And even though you didn't mean it literally, your brain took it completely seriously. It immediately commanded your glands, basically shouting, hurry up, wash the sour juice away. And your glands, they obeyed. Now, this literal interpretation by the brain gets downright dangerous when we start looking at everyday negative idioms. Think about it. How often do you say something is a pain in the neck, or that paying bills is one big headache, or that you're just sick and tired of the rain? Remember, your brain isn't filtering for sarcasm. It hears you and thinks, oh, this guy is asking for a headache. You got it. One headache coming right up. Now, a physical pain doesn't instantly appear every single time you say it, thankfully, because our bodies are naturally wired for good health. But over time, with enough continuous verbal pounding away at your immune defenses, your brain eventually delivers the exact illnesses you've literally been ordering. Which brings us to Section 3, the Coué method. Let's talk about using words that heal. So we've seen how words can harm, right? But now let's flip it and look at how they can heal. Enter Emile Coué. He was a French chemist for nearly 30 years, and after studying hypnosis, he actually developed his own form of psychotherapy based entirely on autosuggestion. Back in 1910, he opened a free clinic in Nancy, France, and over the years, he successfully treated thousands of patients. And I'm not talking about minor sniffles, I mean severe afflictions like rheumatism, terrible headaches, asthma, limb paralysis, tubercular sores, and ulcers. The amazing thing, he always insisted he never actually cured anyone. Instead, he taught them to cure themselves. Sadly, after he passed away in 1926, his incredibly effective yet remarkably simple method kind of faded into obscurity. Honestly, if his method had been more complex or sounded more medical, specialists might still be using it widely today. But it was stunningly simple. He based his incredible cures on just two basic principles. First, we can only think of one single thing at a time. And second, when we concentrate on a thought, that thought inevitably becomes true because our bodies literally transform it into physical action. To trigger the body's natural healing processes, which, by the way, often get blocked by our own negative thoughts, he prescribed a brilliantly elegant solution. He told his patients to repeat this simple yet profoundly powerful sentence. Day by day, in every way, I am getting better and better. He instructed them to say it 20 times in a row, twice a day. Now, in our modern, super sophisticated world, people tend to kind of laugh at this phrase. But the fact remains, these exact words have literally cured thousands of people of grimly serious illnesses. Now for Section 4, Whispers in Deep Sleep, focusing on processing words while unconscious. You see, the power of our words is massively amplified by our emotional involvement. And this is perfectly demonstrated by a wild case study of a soldier who was abruptly shipped off to Indochina. He ended up assigned to a unit run by an incredibly abusive alcoholic sergeant. By week 3, the extreme stress of this environment caused this completely healthy soldier to develop severe asthma. He was waking up in the middle of the night having terrible coughing fits. Exhaustive medical exams showed he was otherwise in perfect health. But instead of just turning to drugs like some others in his unit might have, he turned to mental control. He started meditating 3 times a day, focusing heavily on positive sentences, specifically instructing his mind that negative suggestions would have zero influence over him. In just 3 days, he felt total psychological immunity to his sergeant. And in exactly 1 week, his coughing stopped completely, and the asthma was just entirely gone. And here's where it gets even more unbelievable. Words hold this astonishing command over the body, even when we are completely unconscious. This is beautifully illustrated by an Oklahoma nurse anesthetist named Mrs. Jean Mabry. She actually puts this knowledge into practice by whispering instructions into the ears of her patients the moment they are put under deep anesthesia. She gives them explicit instructions to speed up their recovery, and in some cases, to literally save their lives. For example, during one highly invasive surgery where profuse, heavy bleeding was fully expected, Mrs. Mabry leaned in and simply whispered, "Tell your body not to bleed." She did this right before the very first incision, and then kept repeating it about every 10 minutes throughout the entire operation. The results? The surgeon was absolutely astounded. Instead of heavy blood loss, there was literally only a mere trickle. The unconscious brain heard the command, accepted it completely literally, and instructed the body to restrict the bleeding. Incredible, right? And another amazing case, Mrs. Mabry was dealing with a patient who was super tense, constantly complaining, and treating every little pain as this ominous, terrible sign. That kind of negative attitude severely slows down physical recovery. So while the patient was knocked out, Mrs. Mabry whispered, "When you awaken, you will feel that everyone in your life loves you, and you will love yourself." The result was staggering. The patient woke up with a totally new expression on her face. She was completely relaxed, super optimistic, and wound up recovering incredibly fast from her surgery. Finally, let's look at Section 5, Mental Housecleaning, and why you really need to watch your words. Understanding all this immense power naturally leads us to a really vital, everyday application that we like to call mental housecleaning. It's not some complex, grueling, multi-step exercise. It's simply a conscious determination to be incredibly careful and intentional about the words we use to trigger our brains. Think about little kids who play games at the dinner table where they describe their food in totally nauseating terms, like, calling butter mashed bugs. Eventually, they actually gross themselves out and completely ruin their own appetites. Well, as adults, we do the exact same thing. We make a habit of dulling our appetite for life with negative words. And because words gather real power with repetition, they literally end up creating the negative lives we're constantly complaining about. So we really need to clear out our destructive vocabulary. First things first, we have to eliminate that negative verbal pounding. Stop asking your brain to give you a headache or a pain in the neck. Second, replace those tired old idioms with targeted positive mantras, much like Emile Coué's idea of getting better and better. And finally, you can actually extend this power to the people you love. Consider taking just a quick moment at night, maybe when you're checking the covers, to softly speak a few reassuring, loving words to a sleeping child. It bypasses their conscious mind entirely and profoundly boosts their deep underlying sense of security and calmness. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to think back to that invisible lemon we talked about earlier. Remember that your brain is incredibly, sometimes frustratingly literal, and it is absolutely always listening to the instructions you give it. Knowing for a fact that your language literally alters your physical body, ask yourself, what reality are you going to create with your very next words?